This is Secret America.
Welcome, everybody. I am Jack Danger along with Jay Gatling, and we have a very special guest for you today. But before we bring him in, we're going to talk real quick about our sponsor, Max Associates, the #1 place to get USA Pride gifts and patriotic apparel. You guys have heard us talk about them before. They are excellent. You've seen all the things that we've shown you. I'm going to put up the QR code right now. All you have to do is scan it right there at the top right. It'll take you right to their website, maxassociates.etsy.com. And Jay, why don't you tell them a little bit about it? Tell them, the amazing deals that they have.
The amazing deal is basically the whole website. Let's be honest. I mean, anything over $20 is 20% off. Free shipping on anything over $20. That is an extremely low threshold for, first of all, you're getting a discount. Second of all, you're not paying for shipping, which is a discount in and of itself, to be honest with you.
And really they got all the best. That's not the same generic BS that you see at a lot of other places, just the I love New York shit. It's the actual, the actual interesting stuff that tells people where you stand. And I think that's what makes it great.
Yep, that's what makes it stand out to me, especially, is that you can get that kind of other stuff, the generic stuff, anywhere. This stuff speaks to who you are, and nobody will have any doubt about where you stand when you put on this apparel or have a coffee mug or get a flag. They have something for everybody. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Make sure you check it out. maxassociates.etsy.com. Okay, joining us today is a man who has been on the front lines of some of the most consequential legal battles in the country. A former Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Civil Rights Division under President Donald Trump, he played a key role inside the Department of Justice, overseeing major enforcement efforts on elections, housing, and civil rights law. Before that, he spent over a decade as the elected city attorney of Huntington Beach, where he built a reputation as a relentless litigator, taking on Sacramento, defending law enforcement, and challenging state policies head on. Now he's bringing that same fight statewide as the leading Republican candidate for California Attorney General, promising to restore law and order and push back against what he calls a broken system. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Gates. Michael, how are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we really appreciate you being here. Obviously, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, you told me before that are you a member of the U.S. Supreme Court bar? I mean, there can't be that many attorneys that are a member of this bar.
Yeah, it's a pretty elite and exclusive group across the country. I had a case when I was with the city of Huntington Beach. I was the city attorney there that was in federal court, and it was going up on appeal all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And so I applied and got admitted to be a member of the bar for the U.S. Supreme Court. And it is a process. It's not actually something easy to do. It's a little bit of a process to become a member of the U.S. Supreme Court bar, but I accomplished that. I have the certificate hanging in my office. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. And yeah, there's probably, like I said, maybe only 10,000 people in the entire nation who are able to go to the U.S. Supreme Court and argue, and are members and admitted to be able to argue. So I'm counted among them. So that's an honor.
How many attorneys are there in the entire country, approximately? Do you know, Michael?
Oh, hundreds of thousands. I mean, this is an elite group. I mean, you're looking at 50 states, and every state has, tens of thousands. So you're looking at hundreds of thousands. So it's a pretty elite, exclusive group. And the point about all of this too is, Huntington Beach is the city I represented as a city attorney, but California now has an opportunity to elect somebody as Attorney General who actually is a very qualified and experienced attorney, who is a real attorney. We haven't had a real attorney serving as Attorney General, both with the current Attorney General, Rob Bonta, and his predecessor, Becerra. So this is an opportunity right here in California that we actually can elect a real attorney to be the Attorney General of California, if you can believe it.
And you are the current leading. I mean, from what I saw, you are projected to be one of the top two to finish, and then actually go head to head, with the main Democratic candidate, I guess it would be.
Yeah, that's right. So Rob Bonta is the main opponent. He's the incumbent. So he's been in since 2021. And just so your listeners know, he was appointed to that seat when it was vacated by Becerra, who went on to work in the Biden administration. So Rob Bonta was appointed as a political appointment by Newsom to that seat, and he's been there for the past 5 years serving. So he's a career politician, but he is not doing well in the polls right now. There's a poll that came out just a couple days ago. So it's a one-on-one race, basically, me versus him. The starting point for him should be polling at about 65%. He's actually polling at 40%, 15 points below that. Actually 25 points below that. Excuse me. And he's at 40%. He's 10 points below break even. So he's in a really, really bad position right now, a bad starting point. And so, yeah, I'm the challenger. I've raised almost $700,000 just in 13 weeks of my campaign, and we're closing in on raising $1 million here. So we're going to put up a really big fight, and we have a real opportunity to take this seat and for me to become the Attorney General of California.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, it's in California, this go round with governor and now Attorney General. It sounds like we got shot at getting Republicans in there. I was laughing after you were rattling off the California Attorney Generals. So I'm thinking of Kamala Harris, and I'm saying we didn't have a real one then either.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely true. I mean, she's got just a very questionable record on her practice of law and being an attorney, if you look at her career. But at least she could say that she was in the criminal prosecutor world, where she was working at district attorney's offices, and then she was the district attorney at one point for San Francisco. So at least she can make those arguments. Becerra, who was before Bonta and now Bonta, can't make those claims. They literally were politicians, career politicians, and now Bonta's acting like a politician rather than the top law enforcement officer for the state by really, he's not doing his job, and he's not reducing crime. California is in the top 6 highest crime states in the nation out of 50 states. Top 6. Wow. California's top 6 in highest crime. But that's according to FBI statistics. So he's not doing his job. He's a politician and not a lawyer.
So let's say you were elected California Attorney General. Would you, how would you basically force local prosecutors to do their job? Because that seems to be one of the biggest problems, like the local, especially in Los Angeles area with Mayor, Karen Bass over there. And then they and even the supervisor, the LA County supervisor, I forget who the hell her name is, but she's not doing her job anyway, so it doesn't matter. So what would you do to bring down crime in California if the local prosecutors won't prosecute anybody?
Well, because of Rob Bonta, who is our top law enforcement officer, because he is not prosecuting, he doesn't abide by the law. In fact, he doesn't really enforce any laws that we know of, other than weaponizing his office for political gain. He's created this culture of lawlessness in California. And there's a wanton disregard for the law at the local levels because Attorney General Rob Bonta has created this culture. As the Attorney General for California, there's actually a tremendous amount of authority that goes with that. The California Constitution, under Article 5, Section 13, provides for the powers of the AG, and that is to say that the top law enforcement officer in the state of California has purview over all 58 counties in the state. It's a very large state. There's 58 counties, which means there's 58 district attorneys and 58 sheriffs. So while Rob Bonta is asleep at the switch or simply not doing his job, or he's distracted with the Trump administration, what he should be doing is working with every district attorney, all 58 of them, every single day of the week, to enforce the laws, to make crime illegal again in local jurisdictions, and to be going after bad guys. Every prosecutor in the state of California should be, and will be on my watch, having a zero crime agenda in their jurisdictions. If prosecutors aren't full tilt on prosecuting crime, trying to reduce and eliminate crime in their jurisdictions, they're simply not doing their job. I mean, that's what prosecutors are there for. But instead of actually rolling up their sleeves and doing their jobs and fighting crime, what they're doing is they've got their feet kicked up on their desk and they're taking days off. They're just simply not doing their job. Why? Because they're soft on crime or they're absent on crime. And so when I'm in office, we are going to be tough on crime. And then you add the sheriffs to the mix. I'm going to be working with the sheriffs up and down the state of California too, to be tough on crime. So I spent my career in Huntington Beach, and even before that, working for the Orange County Sheriff's Department as being very, very tough on crime. And we, like I said, we made Huntington Beach in the top 10 safest cities in the state of California out of 482 cities.
Wait.
being
You
tough
said
on crime.
you worked for the county sheriffs. What did you do there?
I represented the Orange County Sheriff's deputies when they were sued for doing their job. So when they were sued for going out into the field and doing their job and enforcing the law, and they got sued, I defended them in court. I didn't settle their cases. I took their cases to trial. I was in court every day of the week defending our Orange County Sheriff's deputies. And then as city attorney, I did the same thing. I didn't delegate or outsource. I went to court myself. I rolled up my sleeves and did the work. In fact, in 2022, I got a complete defense verdict when the city and a couple of our officers were sued in a $20 million officer-involved shooting case. I took that case to trial myself, a 5-week jury trial. We got a complete defense verdict, totally exonerating our officers and paying zero on the case. That's the kind of case that many other jurisdictions, any other city would have settled for millions of dollars. So I believe in the work that our law enforcement do. I have put my money where my mouth is. I've put in the work. Like I said, I'm an experienced trial attorney. I've done many, many millions, multi-million dollar trials. I've done this kind of work regularly. And so I believe in our cops. I have defended our cops, like I said, at trial. I don't settle their cases or sell them out. And so when I'm Attorney General, we are going to back the blue. We're going to return to law and order. We're going to enforce the law vigorously, and we're going to reduce crime throughout the state of California. I did it in Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach, like I said, is counted among the top 10 safest cities in the state out of 482. That's a very elite group of cities there at the top 10 safest. And Huntington Beach is among them. And so all it takes is getting serious, enforcing the law, being tough on crime, and rolling up your sleeves and doing the work. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to change the culture here in California. And I'm going to have my district attorneys, my prosecutors, and my sheriff's departments to help me do that.
Yeah, it's music to my ears. You see behind me, I'm retired 25 plus year law enforcement, NYPD, Port Authority Police. So I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
And in so many of these states, you just don't have the backing of the district attorney or the prosecutors, or it's so frustrating. And we've seen this infiltration of Soros-backed prosecutors and district attorneys basically ruining states that they're in. I mean, totally ruining it. Like with homelessness in California, huge problem. So that leads also to crime. What would you say politicians are afraid to touch it in California? What's the problem? How would you approach it differently?
So politicians in California have not wanted to touch solving the homeless problem. I think it's in part political, but they just didn't want to, again, roll up their sleeves and do the work. They just wanted to throw money at it and have a bunch of talking points for political gain. But what we did in Huntington Beach, and look, Huntington Beach is not just a one-off. It's a very large city. It's the 23rd largest city in the state of California out of 482 cities.
What's the population, Michael?
200,000 residents, and we get 15 million visitors a year.
Wow.
So after our leaders in California over the years have eroded our criminal justice system and have eroded our criminal laws and have made it basically they've criminalized, or they've basically made crime there's not many penalties, right? It's just hard to enforce criminal laws. What we did in Huntington Beach is we started a city level criminal prosecutor program. And so at the city level, we have our own baby district attorney working alongside our county district attorney. And that's what we did to reduce crime. We had a second layer of enforcement to crack down on crime. And so that proved to be very, very effective. So look, getting serious about the law and enforcing the law and cracking down on crime is very, very doable. When we attacked homelessness in Huntington Beach with the same type of work, where we were enforcing the laws that were on the books, we didn't need to throw millions and billions at it. We just simply enforced the laws that are on the books. And when we did that in Huntington Beach with homeless, we reduced our homeless population by over 60%. So we can do for the entire state of California what we did in Huntington Beach. We can reduce homelessness by over 60% as well. And what that looks like is, like I said, rolling up your sleeves and doing the work and doing the hard work, scooping people up off the street, getting them into services, county level services. And there are food services, shelter services, mental health services, VA services. There's all kinds of services at the county level. Get them into services and then get them back home in many cases. We actually got a lot of our homeless off of our street and back home. So, but it's a lot of work, right? You actually have to do the hard work. You can't just sit there in front of a podium, throw out a bunch of fancy talking points, and then try to throw millions or billions at it. What you need to do is stop the talk and get to work and go out and get the people off the street and into services.
So let me ask you, I kind of want to go back to your time in the DOJ. Were you for your position, were you appointed by Trump? And and if
Yes.
you were, how did that feel? I mean, did you talk to him? Did you get to speak to him?
So basically the way it works is because of the great work that we did in Huntington Beach and the great work that I did in Huntington Beach. Look, just so the listeners know, I was really pushing the envelope. I mean, I was doing a lot of stuff that other city attorneys weren't doing and other city councils weren't doing throughout the state of California.
That's awesome.
I was the architect of Huntington Beach's local voter ID law, and Huntington Beach has a voter ID law on the books. I was the architect of Huntington Beach's declaration that it's a non-sanctuary city. So out of 482 cities, Huntington Beach is literally a non-sanctuary city. I was the architect of the city's declaration. It's a parent's right to know city. And that was in response to the state law that basically said that teachers have to keep secrets from parents with regard to their children's gender.
No wonder why Trump picked you.
Right. So that's the point, right? So we did a lot of great work in Huntington Beach, and I consider Huntington Beach the land of the free and home of the brave in crazy California. Yeah. And it's because of all that work and all those headlines and the White House seeing, hey, this guy's the real deal. He's a fighter for everyday Californians, and he's a patriot. And so the White House reached out and interviewed me and then offered me a spot. Trump was not directly involved in that. There's a White House personnel office who was. And yes, I was offered the Deputy Assistant Attorney General spot for the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. I took that job and I went back to D.C. I did it for about a year. It was pretty unsustainable though, because I will tell you, I've got my family back here in Huntington Beach. I've been married almost 30 years, have 5 kids and 4 grandkids.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so working in DC and only being able to come back once a month for a weekend to see my kids and grandkids.
But still, what a great experience though, right? I mean, you were, even if he wasn't there during you were picked by the Trump administration.
Yes, and I was I worked there right in DC at 950 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is a 12-minute walk from the White House.
Wow.
I worked on the 5th floor, right down the hall from Pam Bondi. I worked with Todd Blanche, who's now the acting AG. I met Charlie Kirk at the DOJ. I worked with Stephen Miller. Oh yeah.
Very cool.
So a lot of amazing experiences. And like you said in the intro, I got to enforce federal elections law throughout the state or throughout the nation, including suing. I actually sued the state of California for violating federal elections laws.
Yes, I saw that. That's amazing.
Was that with Harmeet Dillon?
Yes. That was in her division, the Civil Rights Division. Yes.
Before we go any further, though, I gotta ask you, and I want the truth here. I want the truth. What do you honestly think about Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche? I want the truth here. Because I'll tell you what I think first, just to kind of give you some cover based on what you want to say. I thought Pam Bondi was not very good. She didn't seem like she did what she was. I mean, like if you were there, let's put a little comparison. If you were there, things would have probably been a whole lot different. You know, people would have been prosecuted. You know, I mean, because we all wanted the swamp to be taken down. There's so many crimes that these politicians out here could be prosecuted for, even Gavin Newsom and others, but they're not. You know, especially in Congress, tons of them. But so for her, she was. You know, I'm glad she's gone, but I personally believe, and I don't know how many others believe this, that Todd Blanche was the driving force behind her not doing anything. I personally believe Todd Blanche is the swamp, but I'd love to hear your opinion on that because you were actually there, so you know more than I do.
Yeah, so I didn't have much exposure to his relationship with her or the dynamics between them, but I will say that I got to know Pam Bondi a bit. She was a really, really great person. And when people say, you know, a lot of people ask me these types of questions and they have a lot of different opinions. And what I will say is that's a very, very, very big job. And that's a very, very big job to be the AG for the U.S. Department of Justice for the entire nation. And that is a job that proves to be not for everybody. So I think she did quite a lot of good work for what she had to work with right there, but it is a very, very big job.
So it's not a job for her, though.
It's not a job for everybody. Let's put it that way. So
gotcha. I understand.
Yeah. So, but you know, we'll see what happens with future leadership now that she's gone. But look, the Department of Justice, they tackle so many different issues across the nation. There's a lot going on, and the things that make headlines, that's just a scratch of the surface.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other issues that the Department of Justice is tackling throughout the nation, a lot of which that they never make headlines, but it's a lot of work to get that work done as well. So it's a really, really big job.
with your pedigree, as good as you, I mean, you've been, part of the Trump DOJ. You did all the great work at Huntington. Now you're running for, you're the leading candidate for the Republican side for California Attorney General. Let's fast forward. Okay. And I think you got a good chance to win this, but let's put that aside for a second. Let's say for some insane reason it does not happen. Have you ever thought about moving out and becoming an attorney general at a different state? Because there are states such as my state, North Carolina, that would love to have a great attorney general. We've had Josh Stein for the longest of times. Now he's terrible. We had the guy, I don't even remember who the guy was before him. They're just forgettable people. I mean, there are plenty of states that would love to have somebody like you. Have you thought about that, the future after this?
So I'm very, very well equipped to be the Attorney General for California, or frankly, any Attorney General. And here's the thing I think that I would highlight for your listeners. So normally Attorney General candidates, if you set aside the political hacks we've recently had here in California, and you look at real Attorney General candidates for, even for other states across the nation, they're usually career criminal prosecutors, right? And they can say, I did 25 years at the district attorney's office, or I was the DA for 10 years. And that's fine and good, especially if they're good criminal prosecutors and they're effective. But that is relative to me, that's pretty one-dimensional. I was the top criminal prosecutor in Huntington Beach, and I actually prosecuted crimes and hate crimes with the Department of Justice too. I've done criminal prosecution very effectively, but I also did election integrity work, both at the federal level and at the local level. I protected parents' rights. I did California constitutional law. I litigated and argued cases on First Amendment, Second Amendment. I have done a whole array of different areas of practice when it comes to the practice of law. So I'm very well equipped. I'm multidimensional when it comes to the work that it takes to be the Attorney General.
That's no question. You should be. If it were up to me, you would be the California Attorney General. I just meant, like if for some ungodly reason, and the way California is, you never know what's going to happen there because of things beyond but I mean, I was just saying that there are so many other places that would love to have you. I mean,
Well, and look, I've been very, very blessed, both with my family, with my wife, my kids, and my grandkids. My experience here in Huntington Beach, and then my career, absolutely blessed. I mean, not too many people can say this. For instance, we mentioned in the beginning, I'm a member of the bar for the U.S. Supreme Court, but also I got to go into federal district court in Washington, D.C., and I got to represent and defend the Trump administration when it was sued over one of the executive orders for election integrity. And really? I got to stand in court and look the judge in the eye and say, I am here with the Department of Justice, here to defend President Donald J. Trump and Attorney General Bondi, and then go down the list of defendants.
You defended a Trump executive order in court.
Yes.
Wow. Listen to that, people.
Not too many attorneys can say that. And then also, I flew to Washington when I was with the DOJ. I flew to Washington and was in federal court there, basically arguing against and attacking the new state law there that mandated that Catholic priests, report to state agents what they hear and learn in the confessional, which is obviously, as you know, is an attack on the First Amendment, free exercise of religion. And I got to argue that case and we won. And so there's just so many things that I've done in my career that I'm so blessed by. And so I guess what I would say is, look, just like you said, I'm ready, and I'm a fighter. I mean, people know me as a fighter. I'm ready. Put me in, coach.
You seem like a fighter.
So wherever my path takes me, I'm ready to serve, and I'm ready to fight for Americans. I'm ready to fight for Californians. I'm ready to fight for the rule of law and return my jurisdictions, and in this case, it's the state of California, back to law and order.
Excellent.
Well, first of all, I'm not just saying this because you're on our show. You look way too young to have grandkids. That's number one. I'll say that. Also, when it comes to sanctuary, as a sanctuary state, let's say you win, and I really hope you do.
Yeah, me
but
too.
It's not a Republican, Bianco or Hilton doesn't win, and you're dealing with a Democrat governor. Right. How would you deal with that as far as sanctuary policies in California? What kind of power under the Constitution of California do you have as Attorney General, as far as that's concerned?
Yeah. So in addition to everything else I've done, I also sued the state of California twice, challenging its sanctuary state law. I was the one in court challenging it in state court, and then also in federal court. And if you read the news a couple of days ago, the American Legal Foundation is the one is taking this case up on appeal. It's that federal case. That's the case the original case I drafted that lawsuit over Christmas vacation of 2024. So I literally wrote the lawsuit challenging California's sanctuary state law and filed it in federal court. And then I went off to work and serve in the Trump administration. But the case was ongoing and now it's up on appeal. So I've actually done a bunch of sanctuary law challenges as well here in California. What I would say is when I'm Attorney General, I just can't be any clearer about this. We are going to comply in California with all federal laws, and we are going to enforce all state laws. What that means for the sanctuary policy is, look, the federal government has exclusive purview to have an immigration policy and enforce it, period. The law couldn't be any clearer on that. And for the state to have its own sanctuary policy, that's like it's trying to have its own immigration policy.
Right.
And that's illegal. You can't do that. It violates Title 8 USC Section 1324 of federal law. And so when I'm Attorney General, well, you add that to the supremacy clause. So that's not the supremacy clause specifically, but you then layer the supremacy clause on it and you make these arguments in court. But what I would tell the audience is like, look, in California, what we're going to have is we're going to have the peaceful enforcement of all laws. That means that we are going to have our sheriffs and our district attorneys work with federal agencies on immigration enforcement. It does not mean that our state is going to have to proactively enforce federal immigration. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that we as a state are going to recognize the supremacy of federal law and allow the federal agencies to do their job in California to enforce federal immigration law. And what that's going to look like is we are going to get the conflicts with ICE off of the streets and back into jails and prisons. Look, the sanctuary policies, for the audience who don't know what this is exactly, basically the sanctuary policies, the effect is that the transfer of violent criminals to federal custody used to take place in jails and prisons under the peaceful and tight control of local authorities. Now it occurs in the street because the sanctuary policies say, well, we can't have these individuals in our jails and prisons anymore.
Yeah, so they're not honoring the detainers.
I always thought sanctuary policies like that were illegal because these people were harboring fugitives.
Right. That's exactly right. And so when I'm Attorney General, our state agents are going to allow the feds to come in and to get the violent criminals off of our streets, but we're going to get them to them in our jails and prisons. We're going to have the transfer, the custodial transfer occur in the peaceful and tightly controlled setting of our local jails and our local prisons. So we're going to get back to where we were prior to 2017. California's sanctuary law came into effect in 2017. Prior to that, the Obama administration, for instance, deported over 8 million illegal aliens. And guess what? Tens of thousands were criminals. And guess what? His federal enforcement agents went to jails and prisons and peacefully took control of and custody of these violent criminals and got them out of our country. And it didn't happen in our streets, and it didn't happen in the midst of conflicts with protesters and media. It literally happened in the jails and in the prisons, and that was under Obama. We need to get back to those days where we have the peaceful enforcement of all laws.
Let me ask you, what is the biggest risk you're taking by running for Attorney General of California right now?
Some say, look, you're talking too much common sense. You're going up against the machine. You're talking about fighting the corruption, the political corruption, but also the waste, fraud, and abuse, where a lot of people are invested in that industry.
Exactly.
And so they're saying, hey, watch your back. So I guess I would have to say, look, I'm speaking plainly about my common sense, but also a very aggressive approach to restoring California, rescuing California away from this culture of criminality, away from this culture of corruption, and trying to restore it back to a law and order state and a rule of law state. And people think that that's a threat to a lot of people who might be invested. And all I can say is this: I get it, but I'm unafraid. I've been a fighter my whole life. I was a fighter for Huntington Beach. I was unafraid then. I'm unafraid now. I know that God's going to protect me and take care of me. I feel like this is his will for me right here, right now, at this time in my life, especially in California. California has to be rescued. We are in a very, very bad place right now. We are in a crisis. We have children. So here's where we are. If the listeners don't know this, our Attorney General Rob Bonta, for instance, just filed recent lawsuits against hospitals, including a children's hospital, to force them to perform trans surgeries on minors. These are lawsuits that are forcing medical facilities in California to perform trans surgeries on minors.
It's child abuse. It's abuse.
Oh, it's beyond the pale. And we also have young girls in Los Angeles and Oakland and other cities who are prostituting themselves on the street because they're subject to human trafficking, and our local authorities are not doing anything about it. They're allowing these 13 and 14-year-old girls in broad daylight. So we are in a crisis here in California, and I am on a mission here to protect the most vulnerable in our society. And you know what? If that means I'm putting myself in jeopardy or risk, by all means, let's do it, because somebody needs to step up and try to rescue California. And I think I'm uniquely situated to do it. I'm ready to do it. And maybe it's because I'm Irish, but I got the fight in me, and I'm ready to take this fight on and try to help the most vulnerable in our society here in California, but also return California to a state of law and order.
That I really like that, because that's the test of true character, willing to put yourself up at personal risk for the betterment of society. So, I really appreciate that, Jay.
Yeah. Enforcing these laws, this isn't rocket science. It's just not. I'm a big proponent of a broken window theory. When I first got on the NYPD in 1996, that's when Mayor Giuliani was there about a year, and incredible. William Bratton was the police commissioner, and they instituted the broken window theory, and that turned everything around. And it's not, like I said, this isn't rocket science. It's enforcing laws. It's holding people accountable for what they do. And when you do that with the small crimes, all of a sudden you pull somebody in for jumping a turnstile in the New York City subway. You run their name. Oh, this guy's wanted for a robbery too. Oh, this guy knows somebody that committed
stops robbery. A lot of extra crime.
It stops so much, and it's not rocket science. It just takes the will, like you have, to actually do it. I want to shift to election integrity. As in California, me and Jack talk about this all the time, where and people see it all the time, saying in the congressional race, where they're counting for 26 days until a Democrat wins. What as Attorney General could you do to get that stuff back in line, to make election day, and not election season, or counting votes until somebody who they want to win wins?
So I think in this case, there's probably even a better answer than maybe you're anticipating. There is help on the way, and it's coming from the U.S. Supreme Court. There's a case out of Mississippi. It's called Watson versus RNC, and that's a Fifth Circuit case that the U.S. Supreme Court already heard argument on, and that is the arguments with regard to, is election day, or is it election month, or election days?
Yes.
And so we're anticipating that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to come down on the side of election day is election day. And we're expecting that ruling or that decision to come down any day now. It certainly will.
No extended counting windows. Yeah, that people don't realize how big that lawsuit is. It could literally make us have one election day, no extended counting windows. Yeah, that is that. I'm glad you brought that up. People need to know about that.
It's massive. And at the latest, that decision will come down from the U.S. Supreme Court in June. So at the very latest. So it could be any day now, at the latest in June, which, as you know, if you are familiar with California election day laws, that'll be devastating to California's election system, because for all of those ne'er-do-wells and those engaged in malfeasance, this will basically take those opportunities away, because we are going to have to receive ballots and count them on election day and not have election month or election 3 months.
I want to see your chances after this ruling, because I tell you, before the ruling, they've got the chance to cheat. But after this ruling, I want to see what the polls say then. I can't wait to see that.
Well, and let me tell you something too. California is in a world of hurt, right? I said we're in crisis and we need to be rescued. And actually, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans all agree that that's true. And here's how you can tell. The latest polling, and there's many polls that show this, but the latest polling is confirming this, that 65% of respondents believe that California is headed in the wrong direction. You couldn't get 65% of respondents to all say that unless you also captured Democrats and Independents. So this is a change election coming. We don't know what the change is going to look like, but Californians are ready for a change. It's in the polling. And then, guys, add to the fact that California has a voter ID initiative on the ballot in November. So that's going to drive out voting turnout for all of those who are patriots. They care about election integrity. They care about the future of California. They care about the future of the country. And so you're going to have I think, voter enthusiasm among the right kind of people who are going to go out and vote to try to protect our election system here in California. And if you add all of that up, guys, look, I really love my chances. I will tell you, if all of these conditions did not exist, I wouldn't even be in this race. I'm not a professional politician or looking for a career in politics. I have been an elected official, but I just see this as a unique opportunity at this time, a rare opportunity to rescue California. But it's also because of those other conditions that I talked about, where I think it actually is very possible.
It's funny you said that. As you were saying that, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you know what? With that initiative, that voter ID initiative, that's going to drive all of the Republican turnout to go. So we get that. And then if you get the one election day and the no extended counting, because California is notorious for extended counting windows. They will count for months until their candidate wins.
Yeah,
but
and
if this happens. Oh my God.
And we've been cleaning our voter rolls. I mean, the Secretary of State of California, I don't believe she's a good actor. I don't trust her. I don't like her. I don't approve of her. In fact, I'm supporting the challenger to her seat. But when I was with the DOJ and we were sending tough talk letters to states telling them that they better clean their house and clean their voter rolls, California actually did start cleaning their voter rolls. So believe it or not, California has cleaned at least 3 million voters off the voter rolls. And when you have less dirty and less bloated voter rolls, there's less opportunity for malfeasance or
it's like the perfect storm for a Republican attorney general right now.
Exactly. So I'm embracing this opportunity, guys. I am absolutely ready for this fight. I love where I am right now. I love California. I love being a lawyer. I absolutely am a lover of the law. And I just cannot wait for the voters to hear what I have to say, to support me, to put me into office and help me turn California around. Here we are. We're going to make this happen. This is not a pipe dream. This is going to happen, but I absolutely need support. And I'm glad you're having me on the show. If any listeners want to check out my campaign more, they can go to gates4ag.com. That's Gates, the number 4ag.com. I'm all over social media, X, Instagram, and Facebook alike. And they can find me and support me. Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you, I'm going to see if Jay has, I know you got to go in just a minute. So I'm going to see if Jay has one more question. And then after that, I want you to go ahead and tell everybody the website, and tell them your handles and everything you want to tell them. Okay.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. My last question. I followed you on X today, by the way, Michael. I found you on there. So that's good. When you win, what is your first action as Attorney General on day one? What's the first thing you want to do?
So my list of things I'm going to do on day one's about a dozen or more. But let me just give you a couple quick ones. So I'm going to dismiss the lawsuits that Attorney General Rob Bonta filed against hospitals, including a children's hospital, to force mutilation of children. I'm going to dismiss those lawsuits, and then I'm going to announce that I'm going to prosecute any doctor or hospital that seeks to mutilate our children moving forward. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to send a notice to all of the sheriffs in the state of California, all 58 of them, letting them know that if they don't issue concealed carry weapons or CCWs within 90 days, they're in violation of the Second Amendment, because California is lawless right now, and we're lawless as it relates to the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, Title IX, Title VI, Title VII, the general U.S. Constitution. We are lawless here. We've turned our back on constitutional law here in California. I'm going to restore that, including the Second Amendment. In Los Angeles, for instance, it takes anywhere from 9 months to 3 years to get a concealed carry.
Even people that have been approved, they don't give it. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. I know.
They've given out like 5, I think, in the last year. It's crazy.
So I am going to be tough as nails on this, very rigid. We are going to comply with the constitutional rights of everybody. And you may have heard about this anti-Nick Shirley bill that's floating around Sacramento right now.
Yeah.
That's another attack. First of all, that's Mia Bonta, the legislator, Mia Bonta. She's married to Rob Bonta, which, I call them the family of corruption in Sacramento, the Bontas. But they're floating now this bill, and it's actually moving through the legislature. It's an attack on the First Amendment. It's an attack on free speech, but then also freedom of the press. We have leaders in Sacramento who are so elitist and so out of touch and so lawless that they're going out of their way to violate our constitutional rights. And so I want to stand in the breach as Attorney General. I want to stand in the breach and stop this nonsense. And I want to get to the business of protecting the constitutional rights of everyday Californians. I want to be their champion. I want to be their warrior. I want to be their defender. I am going to ensure that I protect and I fight for the constitutional rights, all of them, for all everyday Californians.
Well,
Awesome.
Michael, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on. I mean, you've been great. You're very well spoken and articulate. You're the kind of person that should be up there, not just because of how well spoken you are, and you look the part. You don't just act the part. You look the part. You look like the person would look if they were in the movies.
It's central casting,
and that's
Jack.
what you want. You want somebody.
Central casting.
Yeah, exactly. You look like the person that should be. Like you could actually play yourself in the movie. So that's pretty awesome right there.
That's
Tell
awesome.
everybody where they can find you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. And again, guys, thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Your role in this it's imperative that shows like you, that hosts like you talk about these issues so that the everyday Californians or everyday patriots across the nation hear what's going on, because it's indispensable what you're doing, because you're helping get the word out. So thank you so much. My website is gates4ag.com. That's GATES, the number 4ag.com. And that's where you can learn about my campaign and get to know me a little bit more. I've got some bio on there. So that's a great website. And then also on social media, on X, I'm Michael Gates ESQ for Esquire. So Michael Gates ESQ on X. And then Instagram, it's michael.e.gates. Again, michael.e for Edward.gates. And then on Facebook, you can find me at Gates4HB 2022. So search and you'll find it. But please join my social media if you can follow me and start reposting and tell your followers to follow me and repost so we can grow this. Since I launched my campaign in January of this year, I have grown my social media by tens of thousands because people know that California is in crisis and they like what they're hearing from my campaign. So that's really important. We got to spread the word. But keep up the good work, guys. I mean, like I said, what you're doing is indispensable. It's a real value add to trying to save California in our case and save America when you talk about issues in other states across the country. So please keep up the good work. I love being here. I can't wait to come back on. And thank you for what you're doing.
Hey, listen, Michael, it's a pleasure, and it's all ours. But President Trump, if you're watching, you could probably do a lot worse than Michael for Attorney General of the United States. Just saying.
Yeah. Actually, that's not a bad idea because we don't have an attorney general right now. So, just to put that in your mind, Michael,
win
just
California,
maybe think about it for a minute.
Win California first, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hey, if he's willing to, let me ask you real quick before you go. If he said, if he appointed you to it, would you take that and drop out of the California race?
Well, so now Bonta's going to put calls in to get me recruited. So now you're setting me up. And Newsom might put in calls too. No, you know what? I have really missed my family. And when I was in DC, honestly, I had fought for California, fought for Huntington Beach for 10 years prior to that. And that fight for California, that fight for my hometown was so rewarding and so awesome that when I was in DC, I felt like my heart was back here in California. And when I wrote to Pam Bondi about my resignation, I literally said, I need to return to Huntington Beach to take up the fight for California again. So I think I'm in the right spot right here, right now. But I appreciate your endorsement. But you've probably just stirred the pot a little bit with a few folks.
Believe it or not, Donald Trump and some of his advisors do watch the show. We've had Roger Stone on before. He said it's his favorite. He said he loves the show, and there are other people. So it might get back to Trump that maybe want to. Maybe he might give you a call. You never know. But honestly, for all the Californians that are listening, and we have a lot of Californians actually that listen to them right now. It's amazing. You would be willing to turn down that attorney general job to win attorney general of California. And that says something about your loyalty. It says something about where your heart is. And it says that you really care about California. And that's why people have got to get out and vote for you. They got to go to gates4ag.com and they've got to make sure they support you. Michael, we really appreciate you coming on. We're going to definitely have you on again before the election because we're going to get as many people as we can out there to support you.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
You were awesome too. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
All right. Take care.
Got it.
All right, man. That was awesome. He is a great guy. He seems like a really good guy. And he is absolutely, I love he's very knowledgeable. That's what I love, is how knowledgeable he is.
Obviously supremely qualified for that job.
Yeah. He's more qualified than any other candidate. That's the funny thing. See, it should be like, instead of an election, it should be who the hell's the most qualified. I mean, why? I mean, they get people in there that aren't qualified at all. But when you got this man right here, who should be the attorney general right now of California. So
he could be, like he said, he could be the attorney general of any state. And I wasn't kidding when I said he could be attorney general of the United States.
Oh, I'm sure he could. And in fact, he'd be a great candidate. But I can understand. See, that tells you, though, how much he cares about California.
Yeah.
Is that he wants to stay in California and fix California. And believe it or not, I think California attorney general is more needed than the U.S. attorney general, because California needs to be fixed more than, right up there with New York. Right up there with New York. I was going to say more than, but no, it's up there. New York and California are tied for the most needing to be fixed states in the country.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he was in Washington, had a great job with the federal government under, Harmeet Dillon and her division, and he decided he wanted to go back home and take care of California.
And that's wonderful.
He wants to be with his family. He's obviously a family-oriented person, and that just speaks to his character, how much he cares.
Did you not want to vote for this man?
Listen, I'm not just saying this because he's on the show. First of all, like you said, he seems like a great guy. He looks
family-oriented. I mean, loves California. Come on.
Jack, I said, when he said he had grandkids, I'm like, grandkids?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that.
He doesn't
think that either.
How is he even 50 years old? I don't know. I think I'm older than him, to be honest. But seems like a great guy, and obviously overly qualified for the job. I mean,
Jay, Deborah just gave me a good idea. What if we were to get ask Michael to come back on, and then we were to get the incumbent? Maybe instead of doing what she's talking about, though, what if we have a debate, just you, me, and the two main candidates for California AG?
I don't think you're getting Bonta on here to go head to head with him.
But I'm going to tell you right now that even whenever we have a liberal or a left on the show, we are going to be neutral. There is no gotcha, and there's no going after anybody. We ask neutral questions. If you're on the left, we're not a show that's going to try to vilify you. In fact,
I just want
to going to try to understand you.
No, I just want an honest answer. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not going to ask horrible. We're not going to, ask angry questions. We're not going to have a sarcastic tone. We're going to be the same with both of you. We're not like CNN that's going to take one side or the other. We're not like Fox that's going to take one side or the other. I'm going to see if I can get the current attorney general in. I'm going to see if I can get him. I'm going to tell him, and I'm going to see if Michael wants to do a debate, and we'll get him right here for a debate and see what we can do.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, if we could do it, go for it. But
I'm going to try. I mean, we can. The best we can do is try and see. Yeah. And but what I'm going to tell him, it's going to be neutral. There's not going to be any kind of attitude one way or the other about either one of them. No sarcastic, horrible question. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a real debate.
Yeah. Well, how about
the way a debate should be?
The way Michael answered those questions, he answered them. He didn't.
Normal question.
There was no, I don't know, or there was no like spin. There was no kind of like back and forth or avoidance or deflection. He answered the question.
Come on the show though, Jay. We're not going to have like that attitude where we want you to answer the question, that kind of thing. We're just going to ask them the question. Whatever they say is whatever they say. We're not going to, be angry or sarcastic or whatever. Because we want leftists to come on this show.
I might pull Steven from Braveheart and be like, "Don't beat around the bush. Answer the fucking question."
No. In all honesty, we would be neutral. We just want to ask. We just want questions answered that we would ask. And a lot of people don't ask the good questions. We would
Jack, straightforward questions. Exactly. I asked him, "What would you do with the sanctuary policies?"
And we're not going to push. Like if you don't answer it the way we want, we're not going to say, well, why aren't you answering? We're just going to go on to the next question. But we just want the question asked to see what you would say. Either one of them.
Yeah, let the voters decide who answered the question and who avoided the question, or what answer they like better. That's
exactly. It. And we are going to see if we can get what's the incumbent's name?
Bonta. Bonta.
I have no idea who that is. Never heard. I mean, other than today, it's the first time I ever heard of him.
It's Rob Bonta. Bonta.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can get him on the show. Now, I know being the incumbent attorney general and having a campaign to run, he's probably super busy, but I'm going to see if we can get them both on the show at the same time. Just do like a 30-minute debate, an hour debate. We just ask a question, you got like a 3-minute response, and it's going to be a no pressure kind of debate. Not like when you're on CNN and you got the spotlights on you and you got to answer this. No, this is going to be a no pressure debate.
That's it. Answer a straight up question.
Yep.
That's it.
So
just like we treated Michael. Just like we treated Michael. Very simple.
I think it would be a lot of fun.
Straight up question. And, it'd be great if we could get him on. 100%.
I'm going to try. I mean, we've been able to get on all these other great guests. I'm sure we can get a hold of him and see if he'll come on. Now, the only question is, will he want to do it? But I'm sure we can get a hold of him.
Listen, it's probably hard enough to get. I don't know. Are they having a debate? We didn't ask him that if he was actually had the debate scheduled with the incumbent Bonta on TV in California. Maybe he does. I don't know.
Even then,
you could ask him, Jack. You could ask him.
Honestly, I don't really care if they're going to have a debate because their debate is not going to be the questions that people want to know. It's why nobody watches debates. Okay, we're going to ask the questions that the freaking people in California actually want to know the answers to.
Yeah, well, but Deborah says, are you talking about my background, Deborah? That he won't like my background, Bonta? Is that what you said?
What? Where do you see that at?
He's saying might have to change your background on Deborah saying that in the X.
Oh, no. I think it's all good. I just don't want him to think we're going to be adversarial to him. That's not what we're going to do.
No, we're certainly not going to do that, especially if he's going to come on here and have an honest debate with his opponent.
Exactly.
Absolutely
That's all we want. So I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to see what he says. I'm going to try my best to get him on. I really think Michael would be willing to do it. So I'm going to try to get Bonta on, and we're going to try to see if we can do it at the same time.
Yeah, I definitely.
No, I'm not changing my background, Deborah. If he doesn't like the American flag, he shouldn't be the Attorney General of California.
If he doesn't like a thin blue line flag, he certainly shouldn't be the Attorney General of anything. But I loved Michael's, the way Michael talked about this backing the police, which is desperately needed in places like California, where they can't be afraid to just do their job. That's part of the problem.
And he had an excellent backdrop. The California Republic flag, and he had an excellent black backdrop. It looked like something you would see, on a Fox News backdrop. It was really good. He did really well.
No, he's great. Listen, that was a great interview. I think he was outstanding, extremely
impressive. We're gonna have some good viral clips too, I think.
Yeah, no, I think we'll get some great sound bites out of because he said a lot of important stuff. I mean, that's what people want to hear. They want to hear actual information. They don't want to hear nonsense. And he gave actual information about what he would do as the Attorney General of California.
Absolutely. And he is not only is he the Republican frontrunner for the Attorney General, he's the leading Republican candidate, but with all these things that are converging as like a perfect storm, with the voter ID initiative, all the Republicans in California are going to come out to vote for that, because that means all of them are going to be there to vote, and they're probably going to vote Republican down the line, which is him. So you got that for one thing to get everybody in there. Then if the Supreme Court, which they probably will rule before June, they probably will rule that there's going to be one election day and no extended counting windows. That's going to help a lot too, because then they can't count for a month and cheat. They can't keep bringing in ballots. So you got that. And then you got the other lawsuit. I forget what it's about, but it's a converging perfect storm to actually get a Republican Attorney General in there.
Well, you're also going to have, I think California is one of those states where you do it right. You have a lot of enthusiasm for this election with the governor, like what's going on with the governor's race. There's going to be a good turnout in California. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I don't even know who the hell the Republican. I don't think anybody cares. Honestly.
No, they do. No, the Republican governor is.
Who the hell is he?
Steve Hilton is running, and the other Republican is Bianco. He's a sheriff in one of the counties, and it is a hotly contested race. They just had a debate last night, I think it was, Jack. It was about Tom Steyer.
I tend to not watch that kind of stuff.
Well, it is a big race, and it's getting a lot of attention.
We want to know the answers to.
Well, it's getting a lot of attention because now you have Tom. Well, it was Swalwell. Swalwell was the one who got kicked out. So, but he still
was the leading winner. He was going to win.
He's still on the ballot, Jack, which is good for Republicans. No, that's good.
That's great.
Leave him on.
That's great.
Right, leave him on there because he'll drag some votes away from the other Democrats. Yeah, he'll drag some votes. But you have Chad. Is it Chad Bianco?
Yeah, it's Chad Bianco. He's a sheriff. He's got the crew cut. I know who you're talking about.
And Steve Hilton, who a lot of people don't like because he's only been a citizen for 4 years or whatever.
Yeah, I don't trust that at all.
And Bianco has a couple of squishy positions. That's on
why nobody actually cares about, because I'm going to tell you, they know who's going to win. But the Attorney General is the one that is up for grabs right now. I'm telling you, even though at the moment, whoever the hell Bonta, what's his name?
Rob Bonta.
Even though Bonta is the leading candidate, once this Supreme Court decision is made, and once everybody knows that the voter ID initiative is on the ballot, I am telling you the one thing that has a chance, actual chance to flip, will be the Attorney General to Republican.
Well, the fact that he said that Rob Bonta's numbers right now are 25 points below what they should be as a Democrat incumbent, that is a very good sign.
And that's not even including the Supreme Court decision that's going to come down, and then the voter ID initiative.
No, I think that California is kind of ready to make a change here, because there's a lot of people that have probably been sitting on the sidelines for a while. So I can't sit in the sidelines anymore. I have to vote. I have to vote. I can't.
And with that ID initiative, it's going to draw all the Republicans out to vote.
It very well could, because this is your one shot. This is your one shot.
Yeah, and they're tired of the Democrats ruining the state, and if they want any kind of semblance of not cheating, voter ID is their chance. Trust me, they are going to come out in droves to vote for that. And if they do, that means they're most likely going to vote Republican down the ballot, which is a huge plus for Michael Gates. And then the decision to where there's no extended counting windows, they can't count a week later. That's huge.
You know what could also happen with an election like this? You could have some Democrats who might just still vote for a Democrat governor, but at the same time say, you know what, though? I need a change at the Attorney General because I want to feel safe.
Exactly.
You could have that. You could have that. You could definitely have that, where you'll have Democrats, maybe that, sensible ones who say, I still got to vote blue for governor. I just can't vote for Republican. But Attorney General, you know what? I could do that, because Attorney General is not a political position to me. It's a law and order position for me, and I want somebody to take control of the state again.
Michael Gates has a good shot. Don't worry about what the numbers are right this minute. That doesn't matter. I'm telling you right now, Michael Gates has a really good shot to win Republican Attorney General, to win the Attorney General as a Republican.
Put up his information again for his donations for his website.
Yep, we got to get going in just a minute, so we're going to put this up right here. Make sure you guys visit gatesforag.com to help support Michael Gates for California Attorney General. That is Gates for AG, the Gates, the number 4, and AG.com. Also,
I'm gonna donate, Jack. After we get off the air, I'm gonna go to his website and I'm gonna donate some money to his campaign. I believe.
Excellent. You hear that, Michael? Jay Gatling is going to donate to your campaign. I'm sure there's lots of others that are watching this that will donate to your campaign as well. Also, go follow him on X. It's at Michael Gates ESQ, which stands for Esquire because he's a lawyer. At Michael Gates ESQ. Make sure you guys go follow him on X, but definitely go to Gates, the number 4, AG.com. Gates4AG.com to help support Michael Gates. All right, guys, I want to tell you real quick about our sponsor. Make sure you also go check out our sponsor, which is maxassociates.etsy.com. They are number 1 in USA Pride gifts and patriotic apparel. They are absolutely amazing. You can go to the website or you can scan the QR code at the top right. Jay, tell them a little bit about it. I mean, the deal that they get just for buying something. I mean, anything you buy plus the free shipping.
Listen, anything over $20, that is not a high threshold to get 20% off. Plus free shipping, you're looking at probably like 40% off once you tack on the free shipping, because shipping's expensive. I know this. I used to run a t-shirt company. It's expensive. It costs money for the person that is sending you the goods. So to give you free shipping with something over $20 and they're giving you 20% off, you will not see that anywhere that I've seen. You can't beat that. You can't.
No, you cannot. maxassociates.etsy.com or scan the QR code at the top right. I'm going to leave the QR code up there for the rest of the show because we just got a couple minutes left. So I'm going to keep that up there if you guys want to scan it, or go to maxassociates.etsy.com. Jay, I want everybody to follow us on X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Instagram. It's all Secret America TV on every social media. We are banned from TikTok for telling the truth, but Jay is still on TikTok because he doesn't tell the truth. So you follow him.
Yeah.
That's why they haven't banned him, because he doesn't tell the truth.
Yeah, I've toned the truth down a little bit on TikTok.
On TikTok, you have to not tell the truth if you don't want to get banned. And Jay is not banned, so you put 2 and 2 together.
You figure it out.
I'm kidding. Make sure you guys follow Jay on TikTok. That's at Opinions Vary. It's opinions, but with an A. Opinions Vary, at Opinions Vary, and then X, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Instagram, at Secret America TV. We are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Jay, I think we've solved all the problems we can for one day, but I gotta say, it was a great episode. Everything went really well, and I really like Michael Gates for Attorney General. What do you think? I couldn't be more
thrilled with how that all went, or him as a candidate for that important job.
Absolutely. He is going to be a great candidate and hopefully a great future Attorney General for California. For Jay Gatling, I am Jack Danger. Thank you for watching Secret America.
You've been listening to Secret America.